Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to 1 month to Operationalizing Your Compliance Program. This month I'm proud to announce a sponsor who will be with me all month. It is Oversight Systems. Recent developments at the Department of Justice and Securities and Exchange Commission have emphasized the operationalization of your corporate compliance program as the best defense to an FCPA enforcement action. It has also increased awareness that corporations need to evaluate and drive their compliance programs into the very fabric of their organizations. The best practices of an operationalized compliance program is set out in the recently released Department of Justice Evaluation of Corporate Compliance Programs. Oversight's automatic transaction monitoring solution, Insights on Demand for FCPA, operationalizes your compliance program. For more information, go to oversightsystems.com. Last month, the Department of Justice very quietly released a document entitled Evaluation of Corporate Compliance Programs on the Fraud Section website. The document is an 11-part list of questions which encapsulates the DOJ's most current thinking on what constitutes a best practices compliance program. Within the list are some 46 different questions that a chief compliance officer or compliance practitioner can use to benchmark a compliance program. In short, it is an incredibly valuable and most significantly useful resource for every compliance practitioner. The document has one clear theme that I will be exploring this month, that you must operationalize your compliance program. I hope you will join me for the month of March to learn how to operationalize your compliance program. Day 7, Risk-Based Monitoring. Today I continue my discussion of operationalizing the risk management process in compliance by considering risk-based monitoring. I continue this series of podcasts based on my interviews with Ben Locwin, Director of Global R&D at BioGen and an operational strategist in the pharmaceutical and healthcare space, to explore the entire risk management process, including forecasting, risk assessment, and risk-based monitoring for the compliance professional. Risk-based monitoring is really about continuous, ongoing monitoring for those things which provide the most potential future risk to you. In other words, instead of a static risk registry that may come up in part with forecasting, where you would note, we are trying to anticipate these risks, when you use risk-based monitoring to review issues on an ongoing basis, the models that are behind the risk-based monitoring are continuously refined based upon the incoming data. Think about that in terms of operationalizing your compliance. That's really not only burning compliance into the fabric of your organization, but it's also taking that information back out from your organization and then inputting it into your risk management process. The problem for many companies is that they are siloed not only in data, but also in their systems. This is because of the disparity of data systems. They may not be tracking rigorous, quantified information all the time. A company could have multiple worldwide sites where a product is being used or even tested, and this could lead to the siloing of that data so that you might not even understand or know what is happening in one part of the world. Through the use of risk-based monitoring, you can begin to see things in an almost real-time, time-based trends of real data that you can jump on, and you can make adjustments before things get truly out of whack. So what are the implications for the compliance practitioner? Having access to information around sales, the sales process, and corporate largesse, and things such as corporate social responsibility work, to gifts, travel, and entertainment, to conferences for customers and end users. Through the use of such risk-based monitoring, a compliance professional would have the opportunity to see trends developing, which would allow an intervention for a prescriptive solution, which could then prevent an issue from becoming a full-blown Foreign Corrupt Practices Act violation. Yet, I have to caution compliance professionals against bias. Social media has rapidly accelerated the agility with which the public can change allegiance and direction, and indeed your own employee workforce. It used to be that information was disseminated slower and more compartmentalized within region and market segments, and market resistance to fluctuation was certainly more robust. Now, well-placed advertising, social commentary, or public response to corporate missteps can swirl into a maelstrom of market changes within hours that is agnostic to your market or region. Certainly, if your name appears on the front page of the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, or the Financial Times, you'll experience this. In today's world, the speed at which reputational damage reigns can overwhelm a corporation's ability to respond. Here, you might only consider Wells Fargo and how fast the situation spun out of control for the bank after the $185 million fine was announced. It is through the use of risk-based monitoring, which allows for almost real-time input, that a response to a forecasted, assessed, or even unassessed risk can be developed. In the compliance world, such tools can be brought to bear when considering not only the expense side of areas such as gifts, travel, and entertainment, but also sales side data. There could be internal company data on its own sales force, and this information developed from or concerning your third-party sales, obviously your highest FCPA risk. The need for such real-time information can be critical, and it's becoming more critical. Think about this in terms of operationalization. You just really cannot emphasize this enough. Yet through the development of techniques such as compliance tools, the compliance professional can add value to the organization through the use of risk-based monitoring. With a plethora of data on where and how corruption is likely to occur, coupled with meaningful sales and expense data, the compliance professional should be able to move from the detect prong to the prevent prong to even the more important and useful prescriptive compliance solution to prevent legal violations. Finally, the beauty of all these techniques is that these are tools that make companies more efficient, at the end of the day, more profitable. They can also move compliance into the fabric and DNA of your organization, or in the terminology of the Department of Justice evaluation of corporate compliance programs, operationalize compliance. The Department of Justice has made clear what it expects around the risk management process. You need to now develop your response. So what are the three key takeaways from today? Well, first is risk-based monitoring is a follow-on from forecasting and risk assessment in your risk management process. It's really a continuum of all three, which creates an effective compliance program. Second, risk-based monitoring can provide real-time feedback and input from your operationalized compliance programs so that you have a critical and ongoing feedback loop. You have operationalized your compliance, and then the information from that operationalized compliance program flows back, which allows you to make adjustments. Finally, use risk-based monitoring to cut through corporate silos. I can't emphasize the danger of corporate silos and the need to cut through them enough. This is Tom Fox. Thank you very much for joining me for Day 7 to 1 month to operationalizing your compliance program, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow for Day 8. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to thank you very much for listening to today's episode of How to Operationalize Your Compliance Program. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. If you've listened to this podcast via iTunes, I would greatly appreciate it if you would rate us. It would help in our rankings and help get the word out about how to learn about operationalizing your compliance program in 1 month. This is Tom Fox. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow.